Think you really know Hollywood's biggest legends? Think again. By 2025, some of the stars you once adored on the big screen look almost unrecognizable. From the dreamy heartthrobs of the 70s to today's silver screen icons, time has reshaped their faces and stories in ways that will leave you stunned. In this video, we'll uncover the shocking transformations of the celebrities you grew up watching, and reveal the untold journeys of fame, aging, and resilience that shaped them. Stay tuned, and don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe so you never miss a single jaw-dropping reveal. John Travolta, the beloved star who's grown older right before our eyes. When people think of Hollywood legends who once lit up the big screen with effortless charm and magnetic presence, Travolta's name is always near the top. From his electrifying breakout in Saturday Night Fever to the romantic magic of Grease and the career-reviving punch of Pulp Fiction, he embodied charisma, style, and pure star power. But as 2025 unfolds, fans who grew up watching his slick moves and youthful smile may find themselves blinking twice. Because like all of us, Travolta has faced the one thing no star can escape: time. Now in his early 70s, he carries the marks of a life fully lived. The once thick jet black hair has been replaced with a clean-shaven bald look he wears with striking confidence. His smooth, boyish face has given way to lines, sagging skin, and the weathered texture of age. Yet his eyes, still piercing, still alive, tell a story far richer than youth ever could. They speak of joy, grief, resilience, and decades spent under the relentless glow of the spotlight. More than his appearance, Travolta's presence has transformed. Once the rebel heartthrob who made audiences swoon, he now carries himself with the calm dignity of Hollywood's elder statesman. The tragedies he has endured, including the heartbreaking loss of his wife Kelly Preston, are etched into his demeanor. The buoyant energy of Danny Zuko has softened into something quieter, more reflective, yet no less endearing. What makes his transformation so powerful is how deeply it mirrors that of his fans. Those who once hung posters of him on their walls in the 1970s now see him with silvered features, and in that reflection, they see themselves. It's bittersweet proof that even the brightest stars age, reminding us of our own passage through time. Still, Travolta remains unshaken as a symbol of endurance. His body may have changed, but his legacy hasn't. He may no longer be the disco king strutting across neon dance floors, but he is something perhaps even greater, a man who has embraced aging with grace. In 2025, John Travolta reminds us of a truth far more lasting than eternal youth. Real stardom is about resilience, reinvention, and shining with dignity, no matter how many years pass. Vanessa Redgrave, a living legend touched by time. For more than 6 decades, she has stood as one of the greatest actresses of her generation, a towering presence on both stage and screen. Her name alone evokes artistry, elegance, and power. With an Academy Award, Golden Globes, Emmys, and even a Tony to her credit, she has claimed nearly every honor an actor can achieve. Once, her tall, statuesque frame, golden hair, and commanding voice made her a vision of timeless strength and beauty. But as 2025 dawns, even Vanessa Redgrave cannot escape the mark of time. Now in her late 80s, she appears almost unrecognizable to those who remember her in classics like Julia and Howard's End. Age has thinned her once regal figure, her steps slower, her movements more deliberate. Her flowing hair has turned a soft white, framing a face etched with deep lines, not just of age, but of a life lived with intensity, triumph, and loss. And yet, the piercing eyes and sharp cheekbones that once held audiences spellbound remain, softened now with wisdom and vulnerability. Her voice, though gentler, still carries that unmistakable cadence, capable of stirring the same emotions it did decades ago. What makes her aging so poignant is not just the passage of time, but the life she has endured. Alongside her glittering career, she has borne profound sorrow, most heartbreakingly the loss of her daughter Natasha Richardson. These tragedies, rather than diminishing her, have shaped her into a figure of resilience, grace, and quiet dignity. For those who first saw her rise in the 1960s, seeing her today can be startling. The vibrant actress who once commanded the stage is now a fragile elder. Yet within that frailty lies a different kind of strength. Vanessa Redgrave in 2025 is living proof that even as beauty fades and time takes its toll, true artistry never dies. Her presence alone is a reminder of her eternal legacy. Fans may not instantly recognize her face today, but they will never forget the power of her voice, her spirit, and the indelible mark she has left on the world of acting. Anthony Hopkins, the master of his craft, standing tall in the twilight of time. Few actors in history have commanded the screen with such raw power, depth, and artistry. From his bone-chilling turn as Hannibal Lecter in The Silence of the Lambs to his heartbreaking, Oscar-winning performance in The Father, Hopkins has proven again and again that genius does not fade with age. But as 2025 unfolds, even this living legend cannot outrun the gentle, unyielding hand of time. At 87, Hopkins is no longer the towering figure audiences remember at his peak. His once broad frame has grown leaner, his posture slightly stooped, his stride slower. The face that once radiated strength now bears the delicate traces of age, sagging skin, deep lines, and the quiet fragility of mortality. And yet, those piercing blue eyes remain. Softer now, more reflective than fierce, they shine with the wisdom of a man who has lived fully and embraced every season of his life. What makes Hopkins remarkable is not just how he has aged, but how he has turned aging itself into an art form. No longer chasing roles that demand vigor or youth, he now breathes life into characters wrestling with memory, loss, and the meaning of existence. In The Father, his performance was not simply acting. It was a mirror held up to the human condition, forcing audiences to confront the beauty and the terror of growing old. For longtime fans, the contrast can be startling. The once intimidating figure who dominated the stage and screen now carries himself with quiet dignity. His voice, still unmistakable, has softened, trading thunder for resonance, yet it remains as compelling as ever. More than anything, Hopkins seems at peace with the passage of time. He paints, he plays music, he shares reflections with admirers worldwide. He no longer defines himself solely by acting, but by the full spectrum of creativity and humanity. Anthony Hopkins may no longer look like the man who first captivated audiences decades ago, but in many ways, he has become even greater. His body has slowed, his features have aged, yet his spirit has only grown stronger. In 2025, Hopkins is not simply an actor. He is a living testament to resilience, wisdom, and the enduring brilliance of art that defies time itself. Linda Hamilton, from warrior to survivor. For generations of moviegoers, Linda Hamilton will forever be etched in memory as Sarah Connor, the fearless, battle-scarred heroine of the Terminator saga. With her steel-cut muscles, blazing stare, and relentless will, she didn't just play an action star, she rewrote the very definition of one. She was the embodiment of strength in the late 80s and 90s, a woman who looked as if she could take on the world and win. But as 2025 unfolds, the image many fans once carried, the indestructible warrior charging into battle, has shifted. Now in her late 60s, Hamilton bears the marks of time. The sculpted arms and razor-sharp jawline that made her an icon have softened. The wild, dark hair is now silver, worn simply, as if acknowledging that even warriors eventually set down their weapons. Deep lines etch her face, her steps are more careful, and her voice carries the weathered timbre of time. Yet in these changes lies something even more powerful. Hamilton radiates authenticity, an honesty that no Hollywood gloss could ever outshine. She has never hidden from her struggles, the battles with mental health, the decision to step away from the relentless spotlight, the reality of an industry that worships youth but discards age. When she returned in Terminator: Dark Fate, 2019, she made no attempt to chase artificial perfection. She walked onto the screen exactly as she was, natural, unapologetic, and utterly real. In doing so, she became not just Sarah Connor again, but a symbol of defiance against the lie that beauty and strength belong only to the young. For fans who once idolized her iron will, her transformation may feel startling. But it also delivers a truth more profound than any action sequence. Real strength is not measured in muscles or flawless skin. It's measured in survival, resilience, and the courage to embrace change. In 2025, Linda Hamilton may look different from the warrior who once defined an era, but her spirit remains unbreakable. Sarah Connor lives on, not just in film, but in the enduring heart of the woman who dared to show the world that even legends age, and in doing so, they become something greater. Tom Courtenay, the gentle face of British cinema, has been quietly transformed by time. For more than 6 decades, he has stood among Britain's most cherished actors, a man whose gift was not in showy performances but in a rare sensitivity that seeped into every role. He first captured hearts in the 1960s with films like The Loneliness of the Long-Distance Runner and Dr. Zhivago, becoming part of a generation that forever reshaped British cinema. With his boyish charm, soulful eyes, and understated style, Courtenay became the kind of star audiences turned to when they wanted honesty rather than spectacle. But as 2025 unfolds, the image of that youthful rebel is now a memory. At 88, Courtenay wears the weight of years with both grace and fragility. The lean frame that once carried him through some of cinema's most iconic roles has grown thinner, his posture more stooped. His once dark hair has surrendered to silver, and deep lines now mark the face that once seemed almost untouched by time. And yet, his eyes, softer but still searching, continue to hold that same quiet intensity that once made his performances unforgettable. Even his voice tells the story of time's passage. Where once it carried the crisp vigor of youth, it now moves with the careful rhythm of an elder statesman, measured, deliberate, but warm. In interviews, fans still hear the humility and kindness that defined him, even as his physical transformation feels stark. And that transformation strikes with particular poignancy, for so many of his greatest roles were of young men wrestling with love, identity, and rebellion. To see him now, so far removed from that restless energy, is to feel not just the sweep of his life, but of our own. Courtenay's later work, such as his deeply moving turn in 45 Years, proved he could channel the vulnerabilities of aging with the same power he once brought to youth. Today, the contrast between the bright-eyed star of the 1960s and the reflective elder of 2025 is striking. But within that contrast lies a rare dignity. He no longer embodies the new wave's restless spirit, but instead stands as a living link to its golden era. In 2025, Tom Courtenay may look vastly different from the boy who once lit up British cinema, but his legacy remains untouched. Time may have reshaped his face and body, yet the artistry, the emotion, and the humanity he brought to the screen endure, untouched, eternal. And Archer, the timeless face of Hollywood elegance, now reshaped by time itself. In the 1980s and 90s, she defined sophistication on the silver screen. With her radiant beauty, warm smile, and unforgettable roles in films like Fatal Attraction, 1987, Archer became the embodiment of refined sensuality. Her natural charm and commanding presence allowed her to move effortlessly between gripping dramas and lighter roles, captivating audiences and critics alike. But as 2025 arrives, fans who once adored her luminous screen presence may be struck by how much she has changed. Now in her late 70s, Archer carries herself with the quiet dignity of a woman who has lived fully, yet cannot conceal the marks of passing time. The flawless skin once glowing with youth now bears fine lines and deeper creases. Her once rich dark hair has thinned and turned silver, worn in simple styles that reflect a life lived with humility rather than spectacle. The glamorous star audiences remember has softened into something quieter, more understated. And yet, her beauty is not gone. It has transformed. Once she was the face of allure in Hollywood thrillers, her elegance leaving an indelible mark on cinema. Today, the contrast between the young enchantress and the elder stateswoman may seem startling, but it carries its own power. Her posture is gentler, her movement slower, her energy more reserved. Still, in her eyes remains the spark of sharp intelligence and warmth that first won hearts decades ago. And Archer may no longer look like the woman who stood opposite Michael Douglas at the height of Hollywood glamour, but she radiates something rare: authenticity. Time has deepened her grace, reshaped her beauty, and revealed a resilience few actresses ever show. For those who see her now, She is a living reminder that even icons cannot escape the touch of age, but they can embrace it with dignity. In 2025, Anne Archer may be harder to recognize at first glance, but her legacy as one of Hollywood's most elegant stars will never fade. Her story proves that true beauty is not just in youth, but in the courage to grow older with grace, strength, and unwavering presence. Al Pacino, The Godfather, marked by time. Few names in film history carry the thunder of Al Pacino. From the Godfather trilogy to Scarface and Scent of a Woman, Pacino's intensity, raw energy, and magnetic presence etched him into the DNA of cinema itself. For decades, his sharp features, restless gestures, and fiery voice defined Hollywood greatness. He was the rebel, the anti-hero, the icon. But in 2025, the mirror tells a different story. Fans who once saw the dark-haired Michael Corleone stare them down with icy menace now find it hard to reconcile that image with the frail elder Pacino has become. At 85, the once thick black mane is silver, thin, often left untamed. His face is a map of decades under blinding lights, deep lines, sagging skin, a living canvas of triumphs and scars. The eyes that once burned with danger and passion now soften with gentleness, carrying fatigue, but also wisdom. The fiery physical presence that once electrified a stage has slowed to a careful walk. His gestures, once volcanic, are now deliberate. His legendary voice, once a booming roar, now carries the gravel of age, yet the cadence is unmistakable, still echoing with the unforgettable rhythm of lines that define cinema. What moves fans most isn't just Pacino's aging, it's how his transformation mirrors their own. The man who once embodied raw rebellion, dangerous charm, and masculine fire has become a reflective elder, carrying the weight of a lifetime. In recent years, Pacino has embraced roles that lean into age itself, men wrestling with mortality, vulnerability, and the long shadow of legacy. Audiences who grew up with him now find themselves growing old with him. For those who remember the Pacino of Serpico or Dog Day Afternoon, the contrast can feel jarring. Yet there's a strange beauty in it too, proof that even the fiercest flames must soften into embers. Time has reshaped him, but it has not erased him. It has only deepened the legend. In 2025, Al Pacino may no longer resemble the young lion who once ruled Hollywood's golden age. But his spirit, his voice, his myth, they remain eternal. Anne-Margaret's journey is nothing short of a Hollywood epic, from the fiery starlet who once set screens ablaze to the graceful elder whose presence still commands respect. In the 1960s, she burst into the spotlight like a flame, fiery red hair, sultry voice, and magnetic energy that earned her the title, the female Elvis. From her unforgettable turn in Bye Bye Birdie to her sizzling chemistry alongside legends like Elvis Presley, Anne-Margaret became the very embodiment of glamour, sensuality, and star power. But in 2025, time has woven its inevitable spell. Fans who remember her as the dazzling siren may be stunned to see the woman she has become. Now in her early 80s, Anne-Margaret carries herself with the dignity of someone who has lived through decades of triumphs, heartbreaks, and reinvention. The flame-colored hair is silvered, sometimes tinted with just a whisper of her trademark red. The face that once lit up the screen with youthful allure now bears the softened lines of age, but behind those lines lies wisdom, fragility, and a deeper kind of beauty. Her body, once celebrated for its electrifying dance numbers, has naturally slowed. She walks more carefully now, her once dynamic movements replaced by a calm, gentle grace. Yet, her poise remains untouched, the same elegance that made her one of Hollywood's most unforgettable leading ladies. The transformation is striking. The vivacious screen siren has become a serene elder, her beauty reshaped into something quieter, yet no less profound. Anne-Margaret's journey has not been without battles. Serious injuries and health struggles have tested her. But her resilience only magnifies her aura. What makes her aging story so powerful is how sharply her youth was tied to glamour, vitality, and fire. To see her in 2025 is to confront the truth that even the brightest stars cannot outrun time. And yet, time has given her something youth never could: authenticity, dignity, and grace. She may no longer be the fiery redhead who once set stages and screens ablaze, but her legacy is eternal. Anne-Margaret remains a symbol of Hollywood's golden era, proof that true stardom is not about staying forever young, but about leaving behind a timeless impact. Bo Derek, the golden beauty of the 1980s, has been transformed by time. For countless moviegoers, she will always be the vision sprinting down the beach in slow motion in the 1979 classic 10. With her braided blonde hair glistening under the sun and her radiant smile, she instantly became Hollywood's ultimate fantasy, an icon of glamour whose beauty seemed untouchable. Through the late 70s and 80s, Derek was more than an actress and model. She was a cultural obsession, the very definition of allure. But as 2025 arrives, fans who still picture that sun-kissed goddess may be startled by how much she has changed. Now in her late 60s, Derek looks far different from the flawless image burned into pop culture. The smooth skin and taut figure that once defined her career have given way to the gentle lines, wrinkles, and softness of age. Her once brilliant blonde hair has faded into a silvery hue, worn in understated styles that reflect a quieter confidence. The face that once captivated audiences with youthful perfection now bears the signature of time, yet her smile, warm and familiar, still carries the same charm that won over millions. What sets Derek apart is the way she has embraced this transformation. Instead of chasing after the illusion of eternal youth, she has often appeared with minimal enhancements, choosing authenticity over artificiality. She has allowed her natural beauty to evolve gracefully, a decision that radiates strength and poise. Fans who see her today may not immediately connect her to the shimmering star of 10, but they recognize something deeper, a woman who chose to age on her own terms. Her shift mirrors her move away from the relentless spotlight. Derek never clung desperately to fame. Instead, she built a life anchored in causes close to her heart, especially animal advocacy. This quieter, more purposeful existence has reshaped her into someone far more grounded than the glamorous starlet once plastered across magazine covers. For those who remember her as the embodiment of Hollywood fantasy, seeing her today can feel jarring. The once unchanging symbol of beauty has softened, reshaped by the passage of time. And yet, there is a profound dignity in that. In 2025, Bo Derek may not look like the sun-drenched dream of the late 1970s, but she represents something far greater, the courage to grow older with honesty, dignity, and grace. Her beauty has transformed, but her legacy as one of Hollywood's unforgettable faces will never fade. Burt Reynolds, the Hollywood heartthrob even time couldn't spare. In the 1970s and 1980s, Reynolds wasn't just a movie star, he was the movie star. With that rugged charm, the trademark mustache, and a grin that could disarm anyone, he became the very definition of masculinity and swagger. In films like Smokey and the Bandit, Deliverance, and The Cannonball Run, Reynolds embodied a mix of danger, humor, and charisma that made him one of the most bankable and beloved actors of his generation. But as the spotlight dimmed and the years pressed on, even this larger-than-life icon couldn't outrun time. The man once photographed shirtless on magazine covers, exuding confidence and vitality, became almost unrecognizable in his final years. The thick, jet-black hair grew thin, the mischievous sparkle in his eyes softened, and his once powerful frame gave way to fragility. Age, injuries, and years of health struggles etched themselves deeply into his face and body. The fast-talking daredevil who once outran cops on screen now moved carefully, his voice quieter, his steps slower, a striking contrast that shocked longtime fans. Yet, beneath the physical changes, the Reynolds spirit never truly faded. In interviews, his wit and humor still came through effortlessly. He spoke openly about his mistakes, his triumphs, and the price of fame, often with humility and gratitude. To his admirers, it wasn't just the sight of an aging actor. It was the presence of a legend who carried both scars and stories with dignity. By the time of his passing in 2018, Burt Reynolds had lived the kind of life few could dream of. And today, in 2025, he is remembered not for how time changed him, but for the indelible mark he left on Hollywood. The man who once roared down highways in a black Trans Am will forever remain that charming rebel in our collective memory. His smile, his swagger, and his unforgettable presence live on, immortalized in the films that continue to captivate new generations. Britt Ekland. From Bond girl glamour to the quiet grace of age, her story is a reminder that time spares no one, even Hollywood's brightest stars. In the 1960s and 70s, she was the blonde vision that lit up screens worldwide. With her platinum hair, dazzling beauty, and irresistible charisma, she became a symbol of golden age allure. From her unforgettable role as a Bond girl in The Man with the Golden Gun to her raw performance in Get Carter, Britt wasn't just admired, she was worshipped. Fans fell in love not only with her looks, but with the spark, the wit, the magnetic presence that made her impossible to ignore. But as 2025 dawns, the glamorous goddess of yesterday now walks in a different light. At nearly 80, the flawless skin of her youth has softened into lines of experience. The golden blonde has faded into silver, worn with a simple elegance that reflects a quieter season of life. The fiery energy that once defined her screen presence has slowed, transformed into dignity, authenticity, and a different kind of beauty, one that doesn't hide behind cosmetic masks. Britt has chosen to embrace aging as it is, not as Hollywood demands. And in doing so, she's revealed a deeper truth, that real allure doesn't fade with time, it evolves. The Bond girl millions once adored may look different today, but the warmth, confidence, and undeniable charisma still remain. Her later years have been devoted to family, personal passions, and a slower, more meaningful rhythm far from the blinding lights of Hollywood. In the end, Britt Ekland's legacy is untouchable. She is proof that elegance is timeless, that true star power is not trapped in youth, but carried in the soul. In 2025, she may no longer be the face on every magazine cover, but her place in Hollywood history remains unshakable. A living reminder that beauty fades, but charisma, real charisma, never dies. Thank you for watching Exposed Hollywood. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss a story of the legends who shaped our screens. Until next time.